if I believe in God, I just believe in God. Logically, I don't know whether God exists or not. I just believe blindly. So you said believing is not right. So isn't it negating the total Bhakti Yoga or, this?
I must thank you for organizing this. I'm really enjoying this. The question that I've asked Krishna is at the root of all human suffering. It's such a tremendously important question.
As the whole country, the 90% of the population is like God believing, and they say like, we believe in God, whether you like it or not, we believe in God.
The lack of love for God results in belief for God. No, the words of the teacher are not to be believed in. A teacher is not a teacher at all if he asks you to believe in his words. The real teacher will say, my job is not to load you with beliefs, but actually, this thing will not surrender to this, that, 1,000 places. These hands will not be found folded at miscellaneous places. I will bow down, but only to the truth, only to the one truth.
Sir, in your book, I have read that belief is something which is not right. We shouldn't believe something blindly. That is what you have said. So my question is, if I choose a path of devotion and I devote myself to somebody, some being, spiritual being or a guru or God, anybody, but the thing is, if I believe in God, I just believe in God. Logically, I don't know whether God exists or not. Intelligently, I don't know. Like, there's no proof. I just believe blindly. So you said believing is not right. So isn't it negating the total Bhakti Yoga or, this?
I must thank you for organizing this. I'm really enjoying this. What's your name?
Krishna, sir.
Krishna. Thank you so much, Krishna. Really sincere question. The question that I've asked Krishna is at the root of all human suffering. It's such a tremendously important question. We understand the caveman had to believe. He had no option. What else could he do? So belief is ingrained in our very DNA. And as a species, we are a pretty recent phenomena, are we not? How old is the planet? Please think of it. There was the Big Bang, and then there was a planet, 14 billion years, then 4 billion years. And compared to that, when was the cognitive revolution that enabled us to be called the Homo sapiens, the intelligent species? That was 70,000 years back, right? We are not yet even born. We are in the womb. And all throughout, we have a history of believing. Because there was nothing else we could turn to. Even when there was the movement from the jungle to the village, to the fields, that is, the agricultural revolution, we still had very little science, very little technology. At most, we started knowing something about grains and the weather cycles and water and soil. That's the maximum that we knew of. The thinking part of us is really very nascent. And when it comes to the information revolution, you know how old it is. It is younger than you. So we have been believing all along. And we have believed for so long, it's become a part of the story of our evolution. Belief comes almost naturally to us. Belief is energy efficient. Think of it. If you were to really calculate how far Jupiter is from Earth, how much time and resource would it take? It would take many centuries. It really took mankind many centuries. And think of the institutions you need, the labs you need, the researchers you need, the experiment you need. All of that is tremendous. Now you can do away with all of that with one stroke of belief. Jupiter is 4 trillion miles away from Earth. Who told you? God appeared in my dream and told me. Write that down in the books. And if you don't believe that, blasphemy. Kill him. He doesn't believe in God. See how energy efficient belief is? No investment required, no effort required, no intellectual strive required. You simply have to say, I know because I am divine. Or believe in it because that's a tradition. Belief has also served many practical purposes. When you were in the jungle and life needed to be saved, let's say you were walking through the green and there was this faint rustling of leaves from behind you. It paid to believe that there is a hunter behind. Now, it could even be a rabbit behind you. But it was useful to believe that it's a wolf. Why? Because if it's a wolf, the probability is 1 by 100. But if it's a wolf and you run away, you lose nothing. If it's a wolf and you run away, you lose nothing, even if the probability of the wolf being there is just 1 by 100. Right? But if it's a wolf and you say, I won't believe, I want to inquire, then you will be killed. So you said, why run the risk? Simply believe in the old anecdote that a rustling leaf implies wolf. So belief served practical purposes. Please see. It was needed because the means of knowing were underdeveloped. However, means of knowing within were still fully developed because this does not require too many instruments. Looking honestly in the mirror is not something that is resource intensive, or is it? So true religion is never about belief. Even when you go to the oldest wisdom literature, that comes to us from two directions. Indian and Greek. To some extent also from the Chinese direction. But mostly Indian and Greek. There is no belief there really. Vedanta is the epitome of the Vedic literature and dismisses all belief. It is about knowing, not believing. You must know. The method is neti neti. And neti neti is nothing but a stubborn refusal of everything the mind holds on to. I negate. No, I won't believe. I won't believe. Because I know why the ego wants to believe. And I also know that there is self-interest contained in every belief. No, the words of the teacher are not to be believed in. A teacher is not a teacher at all if he asks you to believe in his words. The teacher is the pathway to inquiry. The teacher is someone who says, no, you don't need to believe or trust or even have faith in the sense the word faith is typically used. Otherwise, faith can have better meanings. He says, no, none of that is needed. You have all that is needed to know yourself and life. Proceed. Why must you live in a second-handed way? Why must you borrow concepts? And my job as a teacher, the real teacher will say, in the Upanishads that is, the real teacher will say, my job is to not to load you with beliefs, but actually help you question your beliefs. So what you call as the Sanatan Dharma really is not at all a path of devotion or belief, not at all. If religion is about being devoted to your beliefs, then it's not religion, it's just theology. There is a great difference. What is astikta? You know? What is astikta? Astikta is not belief. Astikta, asti means yes, it exists. Astikta is about realizing that something beyond your experience, perception, and belief is the truth. In other words, whatever you think of as real is not real. The reality is beyond what the ego can make of it. That is real astikta. So if you are a believer, you cannot be astic. In the ontological sense, in the existential and philosophical sense, in the original sense, where the word astikta came from, if you are a believer in anything, then you cannot be astic. But today the word astic has come to mean someone who believes in God. Simple. It's a distortion. It's a great distortion of meaning. That's what happens to beautiful words. Over the course of history, they get distorted, not just changed, mutilated. And that is also what has happened to words like dharma or sanatan or astikta also. Today you say the believer is religious. In the real sense, anybody can be religious but not the believer. The believer can never be religious. The believer is still the caveman. You'll say the believer believes in God. The believer will believe in a God of his own imagination and fancies. He will paint something and then worship it. Or he will paint something and be terrified by it. Think of the wisdom contained in this. I paint something on these wide and white walls, and it's a wide canvas available here. I paint a horrible picture here with all determination, and then I start shivering. I say, my God, so horrible. I must hide somewhere, otherwise it will eat me up. Sir, you painted it on your own. And now you are shivering? That's what belief does to us. Belief is not wisdom at all. And also, the great books, the great scriptures, the great works of philosophy, they will never ask you to trust or believe. They will invite you to question, inquire, scrutinize, and know on your own. It is in knowing on our own that human dignity lies. Otherwise, any animal or idiot can be made to believe. Right? It is in knowing that we say we are conscious beings, conscious. Would you want your parents to believe, or would you want them to know? No. Would you want to trust what your patients tell you of their disease, or would you rather go for a diagnosis? Because the diagnosis enables knowing. Otherwise, you can keep believing. I believe you know anything. Beliefs are stories, fancies. Any idle mind can come up with any kind of fancy and you can start believing. And once it becomes a mass phenomena, you say it is religion. It is no, this is just mass hysteria. People getting hypnotized on a grand scale altogether becomes a trend. And then you say, this is our great tradition. And you must believe in such things. You are truly religious if you are always questioning. That's the essence of true religion. To ask, to question, never to bow this thing down, except in front of truth. I am devoted, yes. And that's real bhakti. I am devoted, yes, not to my imaginations, but to the truth. That is bhakti. This thing will not surrender to this, that, 1,000 places. These hands will not be found folded at miscellaneous places. I will bow down, but only to the truth, only to the one truth. And if I have already surrendered at 100 places, what's left to surrender? How will I then go to the truth and say I have come to surrender? Sir, you have nothing left to surrender. You have already sold yourself off at the altar of 1,000 kinds of beliefs. Surrender is possible only to those who first of all do not surrender. Are you getting it? You tell me, sir, I respect you. But you also meet some idiot on the street and say, I respect you. Then will I be pleased if I say, if I hear that you respect me? If you say, I respect the truth, then you must also have the guts to say, I disrespect everything except the truth. I will not offer my respect to anything except the one absolute truth. I refuse to surrender. That refusal is at the core of philosophy. Philosophy is rebellion. Vedanta is a fire. Think of somebody like Socrates or Diogenes. Think of their lives. Or Epictetus. He was a slave. Aurelius, he was a king. From the king to the slave. From the one who was killed for one reason, Socrates, to the one who lived in self-imposed social asylum outside the city in a barrel with the dogs. All of them were rebels. The rishis that you think of as very peaceful, even placid kind of people, they were burning in fires of rebellion. And from there comes neti neti. I refuse. I refuse. That's neti neti. I refuse. I refuse to be co-opted. I refuse to be taken in. I refuse to be assimilated. I refuse to follow. I refuse to surrender. I refuse to believe.
Can I? Sir, 90% of the population goes by the belief of God. And what do we do about it? Like, in the sense, the whole country, the 90% of the population is like God believing. And they say, like, we believe in God, whether you like it or not, we believe in God. And then that kind of statement and that kind of, like, the way they say it, like, we can't just do anything about it. Like,
see, lack of love for God results in belief for God. Please understand. If I truly love something, would I want it to be distant? Please tell me. If you truly love something, would you want it to be distant? Would you wait for it till after death? Or would you want to be here and right now? True God is the truth right now in your heart. That is true godliness, true Bhagavata. The problem is that people want to avoid the real living truth in their heart. Therefore, they come up with stories that place an imaginary God somewhere up in the skies. God is wonderful, but the stories and the imaginations about God are all very disrespectful towards God. When there is love for God, God is held very close to the chest. And that God is called truth. That God is the very purpose of philosophy and the very origin. The God here, not the God that is there. The God that controls everything from the outside, no. The God that will take care of me from the outside, no. I'm so intimate with God, God is here, just here. And that's what all the great seers have always told you, and the saints. मोको कहां ढूंढत बंदे मैं तो तेरे पास में. Nowhere else but here. But God being here is a thing of responsibility. And we want to avoid responsibility. And to avoid responsibility, we place God there and say, that one has all the responsibility. Something you totally screw up in your life and you say, God has done this, what have I done? Bhagwan, tune kya kiya? So who is responsible? God. If something great is to happen, then you go and pray for fulfillment of your desires to somebody outside of you, believing that that entity, that power there has all the strings. Love for God would mean God sits right here, in the form of firstly truth, and secondly, your ability to know the truth, your ability to be with the truth. Your deep, deep love for the truth. That's godliness. That's God. But we are people who would rather want to divest ourselves of responsibility. No?
Sir, what is the remedy, sir?
This, what else?
Because the 90% of the population is afflicted by this problem, like, sir. So we have to find a remedy. People keep doing rituals, and all the show about all those. Now, recently we had this Ganesha thing, and now the Durga. Everything is okay, like those rituals and all those things. They are all this fanfare and all those rituals and all doesn't make any sense. Like people, as you say, they don't correct themselves. They don't look at themselves. They are doing all kinds of rituals. And all those things doesn't make any sense. Like, that is what I'm saying. What is the remedy for this? Like, but the whole country is doing this.
We need to have more such discussions. We need to empower people so that they can see that authority sits here. So that they can see that there can be an inner locus of control. So that they can see that their own lives can be worth worshipping, that their own heart can be a shrine. If our lives are dead and dirty, then we'll be forced to worship something outside of ourselves. No? If I'm living a deeply miserable life, how can I be convinced that godliness is in my own heart? How? So the answer starts from life as it is. You have to look at how people are living. And you have to have systems, most importantly, systems of education. We need to tell our kids, you can be the owner provided you surrender to the truth. That you are not feeble. That you are not here just to suffer. That you are not a slave. All that must be there in the education system and even later on. You cannot have bureaucratic systems that leave you powerless and helpless. You have the power to vote. You must be voting for the kind of governance that empowers people. The more disempowered a people are, the more they will worship external authorities. And psychophancy will become the culture. Most of the times, it might offend some people, so I will ask them to pardon me beforehand. But most of that which passes off for religion is just a kind of psychophancy. I will go and praise my favorite God and expect the fulfillment of my desires in return. Sometimes we even want to bribe God. You do this for me, and 25,000 is guaranteed. Where does this culture come from? This comes from our life. So if we want to take care of religion, we have to start from life. Because it is to elevate life that religion exists. That's the true purpose of religion. To help us lead better lives. Not to help us have a better afterlife. This life, here and now, must be improved. That's the purpose of religion. But when you believe in a God of the skies and this and that, all the fancies and the angels and then you start thinking of things like afterlife and this world is nothing. You accumulate brownie points which will be redeemed later on. And all the time you are checking the accounts, how many points accumulated. And who will tell you how many points accumulated? The priest somewhere. He holds the ledgers. What kind of circus is this? And this is especially bad because it turns away the intellectuals from religion. When religion is reduced to this kind of farce, then all the thinking people, all the capable people, they say we are atheists or agnostics. And that's such a tragedy. Because religion really is the art of upliftment. It is the sharpening of wisdom. Instead, all those who are very mediocre, they are touting their religiousness. We are so religious. They are all over the roads. Slogans, banners, rallies, gatherings, power, domination, majorities. And all those who can understand and think, they are shunning religion. They are saying we have nothing to do with religion, which is a great loss. Because religion must be life. Religion must be the truest, purest, and greatest thing that uplifts life. Instead, we have reduced religion to the worst kind of mess. And that has to be cleansed and purified. See, religion is not religion if it is stories or theology. Religion as belief system is very toxic. Religion as a belief system is very toxic and also a cause of great strife. If we think that India-Pakistan trouble is just because of land, Kashmir, we are fooling ourselves. The central thing is religion. In fact, the partition itself was on a basis of religion. Similarly, if we think that the trouble in the Middle East is about land, then we are referring to only a small part of the problem. The bigger part of the problem is religious. It's Jews versus Muslims. That's the bigger part. And that is resulting in the kind of havoc we are seeing there, and the genocide and the potential for conflagration. All that we are seeing. So if you don't set religion right, the world will become more and more of a dangerous place. Belief systems will continue to fight each other. Your belief is that white is sacred because God came to you in dream and told you white is sacred, and God is also white. Her belief, you see, is that black is sacred because her God came to her dream and told God is black and black is sacred. Now the two of you will have to fight because there is no way you can reconcile. Beliefs cannot match each other. Facts can match each other. We need religion of facts. Facts do not quarrel, or do facts quarrel? Language of facts can be different. Somebody could say, I am 5 feet 8 inches. Other one could say, no, you are 174 centimeter. And it might look there is a problem, but very soon the two of them discover that facts do not fight each other. And they are saying the same thing. But beliefs will fight each other because black and white cannot reconcile. One says God lives in that direction, north, so worship to the north and remain silent while praying. The other belief system says God lives towards the east and God loves music, so play music while playing towards the east. Now these two will have to fight. What else can they do? Because belief systems will definitely fight. Facts, religion of facts, religions of inquiry will not fight, and that is the way to peace. This has to be taken care of. Instead, all the intellectuals are running away. They are saying we have nothing to do with religion. Man cannot live without religion. Just like in the Bible, Jesus says man cannot live by bread alone. Without religion, by religion I do not mean organized, belief-based religion. I mean truest, most honest inquiry of the heartfelt kind. That's the religion I'm talking of. Man cannot live without that. And if the intellectuals show their backs to religion, what kind of world are we going to have? No wisdom, only intellect. Great problem. Just download the Acharya Prashant app, and there you go to the community section, and you have live testimonials streaming in at the rate of 1 every 5 minutes. I'm seeing lives change in thousands, if not millions, every day in front of my own eyes. We are doing it. Right. We have actually done it.
Join the community of more than 2 lakh participants on the Acharya Prashant app. Your first month is completely free. You'll get full access to Gita Mission. On the app, you will get regular live sessions, daily exclusive conversations with Acharya Prashant, access to the vibrant Gita community, wisdom exams, curated news, audiobooks, quotes, and much more. Search Acharya Prashant on Google Play Store or Apple App Store and download now.